Big Aceves already had a reputation as a vicious killer when he helped start one of the world's most notorious motorcycle gangs. Consider his story a warning shot.
The thing is, see, when you're growing up, you think, I never thought about being the president or a lawyer or a judge. I wanted to be a criminal. I want to get paid for shooting somebody, killing somebody. I went in the service, I had caught a beef, and they wanted to put me away because I kept getting busted. And in those days, if you got a lawyer, you got off. I got busted for sales, for possession, stuff like that. And so the judge and the courts knew me, and the police. So when they got me, then that was it. They wanted to throw away the key. So what I did was I went and I enlisted for the draft. I went in the draft. And when I came back, I had the lawyer postponing my case until I came back. And then when the judge saw me, he said, let's let the Army take care of this case. And they let me go. I went overseas. I went to Vietnam. I didn't make Ranger. I was Airborne. 11B2P, Airborne Infantry. I was a grunt. And so when I went in there, right, I just soaked it all up. I wanted to learn. I would listen, squeeze the trigger, don't pull it. You know what I mean? Look on the ground, see what's around you. I still have the habit of wherever I go somewhere, whether I'm gonna preach, teach, or whatever, I always go early and I look around. And my wife goes, hey, it's too early. I go, no, it's not too early. It's hard to break that habit. When I got to Vietnam, we go off on patrols, and when you see the enemy, you'd want to hurt them because they would kill your friends. And I wanted to kill them. There was no ifs, ands, or buts. I wanted to kill them. And when I did kill them, and when I would cut their throats or cut their ears off or carve my name on their chest, mutilate their bodies, whatever, you did it and you were happy you did it. It wasn't like, oh no, do I have to cut his ear off? It was you were cutting their ears off. You remember Johnny got his head blown off. I remember one time we were walking in the high elephant grass, and all of a sudden we came up 3 special forces. And they said, hey, what are you doing? We're going this way. I told him, he goes, well, we'll be in front of you. And we didn't see them. They took off. And all of a sudden we found them tied to anthills where the ants had eaten them. They were eating them. And their faces were all twisted because they were in pain. Then you want, let's get them. I went back after I was shot I got hit 3 times. I went back. And they didn't let me stay the full time. They sent me home. They said I was nuts. So when I came home, my wife was already with another man. My son was being raised by my mother-in-law. My mom and dad didn't want me. They said I was nuts. So I figured, what am I going to do to get money? Right away, I thought, well, I'll go to school, get some money, right? And then start dealing, do something, rob somebody. So I went to school. I ended up closing the school. I ended up helping the Brown Berets open up a free clinic. I was with them when they took a town. I marched them into the town up north. I mean, they would say, we're gonna do something. I did it. When the police set me up to kill me, one of the Brown Berets was a cop, and he picked us up, me and a friend of mine. and he had guns in the car. And I was laughing, looking, so what are you gonna do with these guns, dummy? He goes, no, we're gonna go to Safeway and I want you to shoot out the windows. And I started laughing. I said, what? And it was at night. So I said, you know what? Went and bought some milk, emptied it, filled it up with gas, put a rag in it, went to Safeways. I threw the bottle on the window, blew up, boom, ran, left. They caught me a few blocks away, beat me up, put me in jail. But the cop told me, he said, if it wasn't for the Bradshaw bus, we were gonna kill you. But the bus blocked. And I thought about it, I said, they were there before me. So if I would have shot that gun, they would have killed me. Said, he was shooting at us. That cop set me up. You know, he was a hero and all that because he set up a lot of people. But that's just the way. I did it. Why? Because the devil had me. I had made an agreement with the devil a long time ago until Jesus Christ broke that curse. What I was, the grand jury had just indicted me, and they were looking for me again. I had got out on bail. They were looking for me, and so a friend of mine at that time had a store, and he says, "Man, look, I sell water beds in the back room. You could live there." So yeah, so I used to make leather goods for them. And we'd sell purses, you know, their headbands, wallets, all that. And plus posters, you know, it was one of those. And these guys were getting together, they were gonna join a club. So one day they asked me, they said, why don't you come with us, Al? Meet these guys, because I was in pretty good shape. So I said, yeah, let's go, man. I didn't want to go, because they were looking for me. But I went. And when we went there, this guy made a racist remark, and I told my friend, you know what, man, we ain't gonna join it. And they went and sent for this big old guy. I beat this guy before he got off his bike. He didn't have a chance. And then after he went in, the guy said, oh, we're gonna give you our patch. So I said, we don't want it. We're gonna start our own club. And that's what we did. You know, and the reason they got the name Mongols, it's because they had conquered the known parts of the world at one time. So in black and white is because of the sheriff's cars. Black and white. And we used to fight with them all the time. And that's how we started in '69. I had just come home, I was nuts. I didn't know. The sad part, I didn't know I was nuts. But everybody else did. Yeah, I would do things. You'd say, hey man, let's rob that guy. I'd rob him. Let's beat him up. I'd beat him. Let's stab him. I'd stab him. We're gonna do this over here. Let's do it. When in East LA, when we were marching the first time down Whittier Boulevard, and we went to the park, they have a park there, Laguna Park, all the police were there. And I was carrying a sign with a 2x4. I took that sign off and started fighting the police with a 2x4. Well, a cop that was a highway patrol that knew me came, parked his bike right there, came when I was fighting. He goes, man, they're gonna kill you, Al. Run. So I got to the other side, I got away. I mean, I didn't know. I didn't know it was because I had made that pact with the devil that I didn't feel things like a normal person. And then using heroin, you really don't feel nothing. I remember one time this guy owed money. and he had this jewelry box full of gold and diamonds. And he owed a lot of money. And I looked and he had it open and he reached over and closed it and pulled it towards him. And I started laughing. I said, brother, you're gonna pay now or when you come back? And he said, come back, where am I going? To the hospital. Because those guys are gonna help me, we're gonna beat you. He went and bought himself a new Mercedes. His sister brought it. I told my friend, take it. And I stayed there till this guy, I stayed there till they left, and I told him, if you call the cops, I said, you might get me, you might get the guy driving, but we'll be back. We'll be back. You know, people don't realize what's really going on in the world. We were in one bar, we went to another bar, and we started fighting. He was a bartender. Before he could get the bat or gun, whatever he's going to get. I used to wear a chain around my waist, a primary chain. It's a motorcycle chain. And it had a big buckle. And I just got it and started hitting him in the face. I took half of his face off. What I feel, to be honest, is grateful that God has forgiven me. Because those people, they're never going to forgive me. All those people we hurt, they're never going to forgive me unless they become real Christians. But I know one thing, God has forgiven me. Yesterday I did about 15 baptisms. What a difference to what I was, what God has made me. What a difference. You know, I've traveled all over the United States. I used to go into all the prisons. I've been to death row in Texas. I've been to India. Not because I'm cute, not because I'm smart, because nobody's ever said I was smart, but because of my Lord and Master, Jesus Christ.